The tight polls in this race have some Republicans ripping their party for taking the vote for granted. Tennessee Republican Congressman Tim Burchett says the GOP left a gaping opportunity for Democrats.
And they pumped a ton of money into it. And why did they do that? Because they know Republicans are asleep at the switch. Again, 12% of the population goes, and it's whoever has the best ground game. I don't know anything about politics anywhere in the country other than in Tennessee. And, brother, I know Tennessee, and that race could get very tight.
Let's dig into it a little bit more with Fox News contributor Liz Peek. The congressman says Republicans are asleep at the switch. Liz, are they in Tennessee?
Well, maybe in Tennessee, but I think across the country, the recent elections have awakened Republicans to several things, including the fact that affordability and the economy are, as always, the important issues. And, John, notwithstanding the fact that Democrats' brand is high costs, high taxes, high regulation, somehow they have now positioned themselves as the party that's going to make life better for the average American. So I think you're going to see between now and the next election, the midterms in November, a big effort by President Trump and the White House and people running on the GOP line to basically take that issue and make it their own. And they can do that. I mean, they're the party that are going to bring down costs through lower taxes, through less regulation. And they really need to remind voters that it was under Joe Biden that prices went up enormously, 9% in 1 year and probably 20% overall. So, yes, prices are too high, but Republicans need to sort of get on this issue. And President Trump's very good at this. He can talk about, for example, housing. He's a developer. He knows how to change permitting and construction costs and bring prices down. Plus, he's going to be installing a new Fed chair who will be working for lower interest rates, which will also make housing hopefully more affordable through the midterms. But I would say this, John, it's too early to push the panic button. Remember, going into Biden's midterms, Democrats were really terrified that there was going to be a huge red wave. At this point, Republicans were up about 4 or 5 percentage points on the generic ballot, and that's where we see Democrats now. Things can change very, very quickly.
Matt Van Epps is the Republican candidate in that race. He says the differences between him and Afton Bain are obvious. Listen.
The distinction between me and my opponent could not be more clear. I'm a West Point grad, Army combat helicopter pilot, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, went on to be a leader in small business here in Nashville, served in state government, still serving in the National Guard. You look at our opponent who wants to defund the police, who as a sitting state legislator was out protesting, bullying, harassing ICE and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, which is inexcusable and disqualifying.
It does make you wonder. I mean, Republicans were protesting that the Biden so-called Inflation Reduction Act was going to cause inflation. But people don't think about that when they, go to their grocery store these days. All they know is that President Trump is in office and prices are high.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, look, the buck stops at the president's desk. Again, he has to kind of get on board, spend maybe more time on domestic issues, and in particular this. But the Republicans should be pretty optimistic about the economy in 2026. We've had Kevin Hassett, Scott Bessent, and other officials tell us it's going to be a barn burner year. And frankly, as Americans find out their tax situation and their tax savings come early 2026, when the big, beautiful bill kicks in, the GOP, I think, has done a terrible job of messaging what's in that bill, the no taxes on tips and other attractive features for Americans. People aren't really aware of that. So that should help. Plus all the inflow of investments into our country because of Trump's trade deals and so forth. That's going to be very important next year. We're not really seeing the advantage of that now, but there are like 20 factories where shovels are in the ground. These things are going to be built. And I think you're going to see a huge surge in investment. So there's a lot of good news to come.
Real quickly, I want to play this clip of Afton Bain, who has mastered the art of the non-answer or the dodge. Listen.
You don't want to clarify whether you still believe that the police should be defunded? once again, I don't remember these tweets, but what I'm saying is that
I'm not asking you if you remember. What is your position today? How's that on this issue?
I mean, once again, I'm here to talk about my race, which is in literally 9 days, and talking about affordability, which seems to be the #1 issue across the district.
So she doesn't want to defend her past positions on defunding the police, Liz. What does that tell you?
Well, it kind of reminds me of Mom Donnie, who ran the same way in New York, which I thought you were going to show a clip of her saying she doesn't like country music, John. I think that's the actual killer in Tennessee.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right, Liz Peek, good to have you on. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.